This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
I'm Roby Brock. Welcome to today's edition of Talk Business and Politics Daily. Glad to have you with us. We turn our attention first to Northwest Arkansas, where I recently connected with Paul Gatling, editor of our sister publication, the Northwest Arkansas Business Journal. Paul, the latest issue of the Northwest Arkansas Business Journal is out. The industry focuses real estate this time around. What are some of the stories that you got?
Well, our cover story is based on the data from one of our most popular lists of the year, and that's our list of the top grossing real estate agents in Northwest Arkansas. Since 1997, long before I was here, we've been running a list of the top producers based on their minimum sales volume from the previous year. And as you can imagine, with the growth in Northwest Arkansas and the growth in the industry, that list got to be rather lengthy at times, even though we would raise that minimum dollar amount. So for this year, we've rebranded our list, and we've called it the Top 100, which includes obviously the top 100 realtors from last year. I think everyone with a minimum of about $6.5 million is ranked in our top 100. On the cover is Nikki Doe, who is a realtor with the local Keller Williams franchise, Market Pro Realty. She's been one of the top performers in this market for quite a while, and actually has been at the top of our list now for 3 years in a row. Some other stories, we've got some February home sales numbers that are still moving upward in the right direction. We've got a story about some of the ancillary businesses that are benefiting and booming just as well right alongside the real estate business. And we've also got a story about renting versus owning in the Northwest Arkansas market.
And from the residential sector to commercial we go now. It seems like there's always a deal or two to discuss in Bentonville lately. What's the latest development there?
There are a couple. A Dallas developer, Leon Capital, has bought the vacant Ruby Tuesday. Remember, they closed about 100 of those last summer, including a handful in Arkansas. And one in Bentonville, which is arguably the most visible, highly trafficked intersection in the city at the corner of 102 and Walton. Unfortunately, they've been highly secretive of their plans. No comments from them and no plans filed with the city, so we're just having a wait-and-see mode. And also next to the 8th Street Market, a 10-acre piece of land has sold, and on that 10 acres was one of Bentonville's oldest company, Bentonville Casting Company. And the destruction of the 80,000 square foot warehouse there is already begun and torn to the ground. And what's driving speculation is the proximity to the 8th Street Market, which started when the Walton family interest bought that land in 2013, and now it's developed. And so now these 10 acres have been bought, and so as you know, in Bentonville, there's no telling what new and exciting developments are in store, so people are speculating of what might be there.
He's Paul Gatling with the Northwest Arkansas Business Journal. Thanks so much. That's Paul Gatling, editor of the Northwest Arkansas Business Journal. You can check it out online at nwabusinessjournal.com. A quick break. We're going to swing to the other side of the state. George Jarrett in Northeast Arkansas right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us. Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
Joining me now is George Jarrett. He covers Northeast Arkansas news for us at Talk Business and Politics. George, for months there's been discussion that Walnut Ridge may merge with the town of Hoxie. Those two towns are just adjacent to each other. Certainly some pros and some cons. However, This week, Walnut Ridge Mayor Charles Snapp said he no longer supports the merger. Can you tell me why?
Well, it's kind of a shock, actually, because the person who has probably been the most public, the public face of merging these two towns has been Charles Snapp. He's pushed for this. He's advocated for it. He believes that it would be advantageous to both communities for the simple fact that Walnut Ridge has 5,000 people, Hoxie has 3. You put them together, and you would have the 11th largest city in Northeast Arkansas, and it would be the 46th largest in the state. And what happens is a lot of these companies that come in, like fast food chains, industrial, types of businesses, they look at populations of towns. And a lot of them use just a simple matrix. If you meet a certain population threshold, they will locate to your town and open a business. And so his thinking was, if we could combine these two towns, which are contiguous, meaning they do border each other, then you would have it would be an economic advantage for the entire area. But when they started going into the revenue numbers, Hoxie's revenue streams at best have flatlined over the last 5 years, and in several years they've actually declined. So that was one part of it. The second part of it was he didn't feel like there was enough political unity within the communities to combine these two towns. The Hoxie mayor, Lanny Tinker, had come out and said, that he wished that this had been more of a collaborative effort to get these two towns together. He kind of felt like, the Walnut Ridge folks had formed a committee to look into the fine details of what this merger would entail. And so he was of the opinion that they were of the opinion that they were just doing it, just from a Walnut Ridge perspective. And, and he thought that there should have been more of a collaborative effort.
Hoxie leaders were hesitant anyway for a variety of reasons. Does it strike you that this deal is done for another few years, or might it get resurrected after some discussions again this year?
I think at this point it's probably a dead deal. Here's the thing. All it takes is for 15% of the people who voted in the last general election to sign a petition to get it on the ballot. So 15% of those people in Walnut Ridge would have to sign it, which is about 220, and then the same percentage of people in Hoxie have to sign it, which would be 97, and then the people in both towns would still have the opportunity to vote for it. Just because the mayor Snapp doesn't support it now doesn't mean it can't be resurrected at any time. The problem is, and I've been told this, is that there are several people who've examined these numbers, especially on the Hoxie side, and they say that if this merger doesn't happen this year or within the next couple of years, it might be untenable. It might become a situation where it would be disadvantageous for Walnut Ridge to take on, merging with the two towns. So if it doesn't happen now, it might not ever happen.
And let's shift to Batesville. You wrote a great piece, a feature piece on the Melba Theater and the entrepreneurs who've helped restore this magical place. Kind of give viewers the rundown.
Well, the Melba Theater, the building actually in downtown Batesville has been around since 1870. It started off as an opera house. It was transformed into a general store, and then in the early 1940s, it became one of the first CinemaScope theaters in Arkansas. And there was a gentleman, who had worked there when he was in high school. About 2 years ago, the theater was in disrepair, and it became available. So he and his wife got together with some friends who wanted to put together an investment. They invested about $500,000, bought the property. They've redone the old Melba Theater. The ticket booth's outside. It looks exactly like it did in the 1940s. And so they're not, obviously they're trying to get back their investment, but this isn't just a profit venture for them. It's it's a cultural thing, a community thing. They offer one movie a week. Tickets are $4 a piece, which is half the national industry average for a movie theater. And it's a piece in downtown Batesville. They're trying to revitalize their downtown. If you've ever go through there, it's absolutely gorgeous down there. They're doing a lot of work. And the Melba Theater, it's just a little piece of nostalgia here in Arkansas. And if you ever get the chance to go down there and catch a movie, check out their Facebook page. Go to, you can call them. They'll tell you what's going to play. They play a lot of second run, like they're going to play La La Land this week, second, run movies. Over Memorial Weekend, they're going to try to put together a Jaws themed, weekend and play several Jaws movies. Over Christmas, they had a bunch of Christmas-themed movies, White Christmas, It's a Wonderful Life, and then, of course, they had National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. They had the RV out front, the one that Cousin Eddie drove up in the movie, and they had a guy dressed up like Cousin Eddie, and they had different bands playing inside the theater, playing Christmas songs before the movie. So it's just a great family experience. And it, again, like I said, it's just a little piece of history that we should all try to enjoy if we can.
He's George Jared. Thanks as always. You can read more on that story, plus keep up with the daily news from Northeast Arkansas at our website at talkbusiness.net. That's all for this edition of Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock. Thanks for tuning in.